Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the Guild Wars 2 video. We're going to move away from PvP for a while just because the PvP scene is very stagnant now and unranked is not much fun to play, especially with the queues they just randomly chuck you into. And yeah, since there's no ranks and pretty much all the builds are the same and I already have them all up, I'm just going to start moving into PvE build guides and other general stuff like that. Chuck us some comments of what you guys want to see. But yeah, if you want to see more PvP builds, like ones that I haven't already done, just tell me in the comments and I will definitely do those, because I'm pretty sure I've done them all. A Bunker Guardian, I'm lacking, I think, but I'm going to do that soon. Like, there's kind of a new Bunker Guardian build. But yeah, I'm going to move into a Mesmer PvE build guide, Fractal and raids, but basically this is a very utility heavy build. It requires a fair bit of practice and playtime and knowledge of the Mesmer class itself, so I don't think you can jump straight into a Fractal with this build. Test it out first, play around with it a bit, change things to your liking. Not everything has to be perfect, of course. If you want to optimize your DPS or whatever, you're going to have perfect everything with infusions and all that. But yeah, Ascended gear is necessary, but exotic is fine at lower level fractals, like up to 20 or 30 even. But yeah, Ascended is necessary the higher you go up, so you're going to want to invest in that, which is very expensive, I know, but it's worth it in the long run because you can change it around between your characters. You can put it on your Elementalist or Necro instead. I know the runes won't be optimal for them, but yeah, what can you do? Trying to get Ascended armor for light, medium, and heavy. If you want to see like an Ascended armor guide or something, just hit me up in the comments. But yeah, let's start with the traits are very complicated because they can change around a lot. Let's start with the armor. So Berserker, I chose to go with Berserker armor. You can change it always once you've already crafted it. And you're going to need Rune of the Chronomancer, which is relatively cheap. Don't get too worried about that. Just got Chrono Rune. Yeah, it's only 2 gold each, 2 gold a pop, it's 12 gold. 2 seconds of quickness per well, very useful when dropping your big quickness bombs, and the power and precision is really nice as well. And then what do we have? Yeah, full Berserker everything armor. You can go Assassins as well, that's very viable. It's a small DPS difference between Assassins and Berserkers, but yeah, it's up to you guys. I prefer Berserker more because it's more viable on Necro and Elementalist, and I do change his gear around. But yeah, weapons as well, Berserker. I run air accuracy. You're meant to run air and force, but if you're cheap, you're going to run accuracy. I'm saving my money for the legendary back piece, even though I already have one, but yeah. So yeah, the sword focus, and then this sword shield. You want to try and get these ascended if you can, just so you can get more agony resistance on them. And what's it called? Yeah, I run air fire on this one. I have another shield as well though, where I can run air accuracy if I have to. Accuracy just helps with your crit chance. With Fury you get put up at 77, so that's pretty high. With a banner you get put up like 83, so that's nice, pretty high crit chance. But yeah, ideal is air force. Then trinkets, you want to run Berserkers, so it's Berserker stuff. You want to infuse your rings and drop agony on them. So yeah, like this, you need to infuse them, put a simple infusion, put an agony infusion, and put a second agony infusion in there. 11s and 10s are enough. They're pretty expensive though, but it's an investment. Then onto the traits, then we'll go through the skills and all that, the combos and everything afterwards. And then we'll have to jump into the PvP lobby, or maybe we can just jump into the actual Fractal itself. But yeah, there's many variants of the build. The only staple thing is in Chronomancer, where you take bottom, so also while the ends well. Wells grant alacrity to allies when they end. Alacrity is a 33% recharge rate on your skills. Improved alacrity, so alacrity you apply to yourself lasts a bit longer. Then Chrono Phantasma, so your phantasms are resummoned after the first time they are shattered, so that means if your phantasm like this shield or the Phantasmal Warden, sword is also common that you need to run. Let's take that out. Sword as well. So your Phantasmal Swordsman, when that's shattered, it just comes back to life. And so basically your phantasms have 2 lives for this trait, and on the first time you shatter them, they just respawn. Then in Inspiration, we have Medic's Feedback, so this is great for reviving and a higher reflect uptime, especially in fractals like Volcanic, because on the end boss people are likely to go down, and then you res them up and get a feedback up on that Lava Elemental stage. Then Warden's Feedback is really great for when you run Focus. If you don't run Focus, you want to take Restorative Illusions just for the nice heal and the Condi Clear. But with the Focus and this trait, your Focus 4 reflects projectiles, so that basically becomes a wall of reflection. This reflects projectiles as well, and they do have lower cooldowns, so that's nice. Then Illusionary Inspirations, so whenever you summon a Phantasm, cast Signet of Inspiration every 30 seconds. This does go down if you take the Signet trait in the other trait lines. Illusions, Compounding Power, so 9% damage increase. Then Phantasms attack 20% more often, so that's basically 20% more damage per second if you think about it. Then just a bit of confusion, not the greatest trait. And then of course this is also not the greatest trait, but your shadow skills are improved. There's nothing else you can really take in this line. Illusions is not the best option, but it works if you're playing a very Phantasm focused Mesmer and you like never ever shatter. It's good in prolonged fights as well. Then Domination is good for some fights. Illusions deal more damage, very important. And then activating the Signet grants you Distortion and removes conditions. Signet recharge is reduced, so your Signet of Inspiration is up more often. Same with this trait, goes down to 24 seconds. If you want to take Blood Inscriptions, I suggest taking Signet of the Ether, because it is a fair bit of healing. Even with 0 illusions, it heals you every 3 seconds. Then Mental Anguish, so shatter skills deal more damage. You can also take Imagined Burden on ranged fights, like, what's it called? The one at the end of Dorminova. I like to take this trait and run Greatsword just to be a bit safer, but of course you do lose a lot of DPS. Then Dueling is a great trait line. Your Phantasms have Fury, 20% crit chance on them. Well, this is permanent, by the way. Then what do we take? Fence's Finesse, so you get an extra 150 ferocity while you're using sword, and we have sword in every weapon set, so it's very useful. And then you can take whichever you want for these. I don't recommend Deceptive Evasion always, because in some situations it is bad. This is not like a shadow PvP build, but yeah, this trait line is still strong. You can take Harmonious Mantras and maybe run Mantra of Cleansing if you have to. In a heavy condi area, like enemies give you conditions when they die or whatever. But yeah, the main one I like to run is this type of setup. So yeah, this, if you need more reflects, you can run Temporal Enchanter as well, like, because your feedback will last longer. If you take this trait, this also lasts longer as well, so it goes up to 8 seconds. And yeah, show off some combos of how do we get gold? How do we get a gold spam thing in this lobby? Jeez. Okay, let's just pop in and show off a big quickness bomb, or lagging a fair bit. Holy, this fractal always lags me. I don't know if it's because of the... Yeah, if I look over there I get a lot of FPS lag. If I look over here it's all G. Let's just not try and face the wall that much. So basically you gotta get up 3 illusions. So we get up 1, we get up 2, so I like to open the fight. Oh sorry, I'm usually running a sword. We get up 3. These guys die so quickly, level 1 fractal. Let's maybe go over to a higher level thing. I'm gonna run sword. So yeah, about weapons. Greatsword is useful on ranged fights, so make sure you have your greatsword all pimped out. Then sword is usually great. Chuck these in the same one if you have to. To save a bit of money, you can just run 1 sword, and then you can just put a focus on the other one, and like a shield, for example, in this one. But you're gonna need sword eventually, just for the Phantasm, of course. So we're going to chuck a sword in here. And focus, I usually run sword, 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 focus. Sword, 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 shield as well is really good. This is for the blocking and the quickness. Shield is a lot better for quickness, and focus is a lot better for the reflects, so it's basically up to you on what you need. Let's get a block going. Okay, then you continuum split, then you drop your time warp, then you drop your mimic, well of action, and signet of inspiration. So I'll show that off here. So there's the skills I dropped, then you drop mimic again, drop another well, drop another well, drop another well. We wait till all the wells finish triggering, and we drop a second signet there. Then we get a shit ton of quickness on me and all our allies. So that's the basic premise of quickness share. You never drop your time warp twice because the cooldown is just simply too long. And again, Mesmer is really fun on soloing fractals. If you just want to, if you're trying to get into soloing fractals, learn Mesmer, I guess. But yeah, Mesmer is useful in all groups just because of the quickness. So yeah, Mesmer is not like shit in fractals, I guess. It's a lot more useful with Revenant though. It combos really well with Rev. I'll show off the quickness share thing one more time and then pop back out. Food and stuff, yep. Food, we're on tins of fruitcake, so gain power equal to 6% of your toughness, gain power equal to 4% of your vitality, just a big power boost, gets our damage higher. Then this is the food you want to run, so that's the oil you want to run. Food you want to run, this shit is a bit expensive, let's check how much it is. Yeah, 18 each. If you don't want to run this, just run some shitty food like that. But in optimal fractals, like higher up, like hundreds or 90 pluses, you definitely want to run a fried gold dumpling for the boon duration, so basically that's more quickness. And 33% chance for might on crits, which is just a bit of a damage booster again. Even though you should have like 25 stacks of might in those longer fights, sorry. Let's just jump in here with the quickness thing again. Don't get abused. Okay, so yeah, we just got abused. So great. And we're not gonna get rezzed because there's no players. Pause that and come back. Okay, we'll try and drop the combo here, even though it's a bit laggy whenever we face that direction. Let's just heal up a bit. If I face there, I get like 10 FPS. Let's just go around, find a new guy who's full health. This one. Okay, yep, so we're going to drop the 3, and 5, and then we're going to get dropped the 4. We're going to drop the weakness bomb. So basically I set up my skill so I get water, and drop the healing while it's just for the extra quickness. I'm going to try and hold off on your signet of inspiration in your first cast, just so you can share more the long duration of quickness. We can even jump over to here and share our quickness to all these guys as well. So a common thing to do in raids, like the good Mesmers will do this, but since you're going to be in the party with the Revenant, you can move yourself up to another party and drop your signet of inspiration, then you can move yourself back down, so that'll give you signet of inspiration to all those people in that party, because it prefers who you're with, basically. But in a fractal it wouldn't matter because it's just going to give it to everyone anyway. It's not going to give it to people's pets or whatever, don't be worried about that. Unless there's only like 2 of you, and of course it would. But yeah, it'll prioritize your allies first, so no need to worry about that. What else? Crit damage is pretty high. Crit chance floats around 50 to 57, and with Fury it goes up, of course. But yeah, sword shield is what you want to run when you don't need reflex, because of the damage increase. But then when you do need reflex, you want to run sword focus as well. Also, sword focus is good for running around because it gives yourself swiftness, pull an enemy back in. It's just useful overall. Yeah, sorry about the lag. Utility changes. We'll go through some utilities and combos and weapon skills and shit. Phantasmal Warden reflects missiles, so does Temporal Codon with the trait. This is Leap. Invulnerability, great for dodging big skills, and you've got to time this really well against boss fights, so whenever a boss fight does a big AoE attack, you don't really have to dodge, you can use Blurred Frenzy, so don't worry too much about that. This is a daze, so it breaks bosses' CC bars by a tiny bit. this is one of your main DPS skills. Apart from your auto attack, make sure you always auto attack, and your auto attack rips boons. So on the first raid, on the blue guy, on the blue guardian, on the Veil Guardian fight, you can rip his protection off him, and that's useful. Then Well of Eternity gives you quickness, it gives you a self heal and an ending heal as well. You don't need to be in the well for the self heal. So if I were to take some damage here, I'll place my well over here, and then run into it at the end and still get the final full heal, like the full use of it, so that's good. Then Mimic, your next utility skill you use recharges faster, so that just means it's basically the next utility skill you use doesn't have a cooldown at all, so that's why we drop 2 wells. Sometimes you usually want to mimic your wells, but sometimes you can mimic your Signet of Inspiration to give it to your whole raid, for example. That's useful in some cases. Oh, I just cramped up. Shit. Then Time Warp, of course, you never want to use twice. You always want to use it while you have your Continuum split up, because it has a massive fat cooldown. But this is basically 11 seconds of quickness, which is great for your inspiration, and it usually lasts through your whole combo as well. So by the time your combo finishes, Time Warp will be finished, so then you can drop your second Signet of Inspiration and get a big bomb of quickness on you and all your allies. What else? Utility things you swap out. If you're in a reflect based fractal, you're going to swap this out for feedback, and sometimes you can even take this trait just because you already have a Signet of Inspiration first of all, and you're going to need the reflects. So this is a hella reflect heavy build if you take that trait and utility, but usually you don't need it unless it's like what situation would that be? I don't know, just a very ranged pressure heavy fractal, maybe the one with the hammer, forget the name of it right now, the one that's really hard. You can also take out Mimic as well, and run well of recall, sorry, but you lose a bit of quickness there. If you're running boon duration food and you have a rev on you, you should have 70%, so that it won't matter too much, but yeah, it'll still affect you, because you'll definitely get less quickness. But with 2 Mesmers, this is really strong, because you're going to have infinite quickness anyway, because you can be bouncing it off each other. What else can you run? If you need Condi clears, you're going to run Mantra of Resolve. On some things you take Portal to skip, same with Mass Invisibility, just to run past the mobs. When you're fighting trash mobs, you want to take Wall of Calamity, just because it does a fair bit of damage on the final tick. You'll see here, it does like barely any on the first 3 ticks. I guess a nice profit, like 5k. Always want to auto attack as well. Don't spam your shadows, because your illusions will die, and your phantasms will die. Use them once every phantasm round. So get 3 phantasms up, shatter, get 3 phantasms up again, and shatter. So you have to keep track of what your phantasms have. If you can't remember, you can always click on them and see if they have Chrono Phantasm up. So yeah, the phantasm shatters, and now he doesn't have it, so we know that if we shatter him this time, then he'll just disappear, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. If you guys have any questions or anything, just let me know in the comments. I'll put up more fractal builds. I'm not going to drop gameplay because the recording's stuffed up, to be honest. But yeah, gameplay is just pretty straightforward. You auto attack, you do your big quickness bomb, you auto attack again, you drop reflects. It also depends on the fractal as well. Like, if I do gameplay for one fractal, you might have no idea what to do in the other fractal. Also, the pulling is really useful, so see how there's like a lot of guys over here, I can pull them all together, and we can wreck them with a big well bomb. They're dead, these guys. Yep, I hope you guys liked that build. Thanks for watching, I got more coming soon. If you want to see a specific build, or a different variation of a Mesmer build, I don't know, hit me up in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, glad to be back, and see you guys next time.